Hi, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBeCrochet.com, and I'm real excited to invite you along to my crochet along for the Celtic Cross Throw. This project is an intermediate project, but I don't want you to be afraid of just jumping in and trying it if you're a confident beginner. Who's a confident beginner? A confident beginner is someone who knows the single crochet, the chain, the double crochet, and the treble crochet. If you can crochet them and make a scarf that kind of goes straight and not kind of wonky on you, I think you could probably even jump in and try this. Well, what are you going to need? Well, the pattern would be helpful for starters. The pattern first appeared in December 2018 in Crochet World magazine. If you don't have a copy of this magazine already, you can get one from Annie's. I'll have the link right down there below. I believe they still have some physical copies for purchase, and they always are going to have the PDF download that you can purchase online. Now you can also purchase the pattern alone, but honestly it's just $1 less than getting the regular magazine, which has many more outstanding projects that I think you would really enjoy looking at. For this project I'm going to be using Red Heart's Comfort Chunky. This is 100% acrylic. It's a 5, which is a bulky weight, and you can see the yardage here, 448 yards or 410 meters, and any other information you want to see right there. And I am going to be using a size L or 11 or 8.00 millimeters crochet hook, and as always I'm recommending that you have a yarn needle handy as well as a pair of scissors. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. To begin, we're going to go ahead and make our slip knot. Then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first chain so that we can make a circle just like this. Now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and for the record this does not count as a stitch. Okay, now we're going to work 16 double crochets right into the center of the circle, and as I do this I'm going to crochet over this loose strand, and that way I have one less strand to hide at the end. So go ahead and work 16 double crochets going right into the center. After finishing those 16 stitches, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and trim that loose strand. Since I have 16 stitches crocheted around it, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So this is what you should have after you finish those 16 stitches. Okay, after we do that, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Now the first stitch, remember, is this double crochet, not the chain 2. Just join with a slip stitch just like that. Okay, now starting round number 2, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and this does count as a double crochet. And now in that same place as joining, we're going to work a double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. So we've just formed the first corner. Now we're going to work 2 double crochets in each of the next 3 stitches. So 2 double crochets here, and then 2 double crochets here, and 2 double crochets in the next stitch. I'm going to stop and let you see what that looks like. Okay, now we're ready for the next corner, which is going to be 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets worked in the same place. Okay, so I'll stop and show you this much of it. Okay, now we're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'm going to go ahead and do that with you. 2 double crochets in each of the next 3 stitches, and I'll stop and count whoops, go ahead and stop and count just to make sure I have the right number. So we have the corner here, so we have 2, 2, and 2. Now it's time for another corner, which is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, all worked in that same place. Now we're going to work 2 double crochets in each of the next 3 stitches. I just want to make sure that we establish a good foundation on these 2 rounds, because it's kind of important. Actually, the next round is kind of important too. But so we have 2, 2, and 2, and it's time for another corner, which is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. And now we're left with 3 stitches, and we work 2 double crochets in each of those. And 2 more here. Okay, let's stop and take a look at what we have at this point. Okay, now we're going to do something a little interesting. We're going to join to the top of that chain, just like this. Remember that chain 3 does count as a stitch. Now, so we don't have to turn and work on the back side, we're going to keep the front side facing. We're going to work a slip stitch in that next stitch, and then we're going to work a slip stitch to that chain 2 corner. Now we're going to chain 2. This is beginning round number 3. We're going to work a half double crochet alongside that corner. This chain 2 does count as another half double crochet. And just keep in mind, whenever you come to a corner, you're going to fill that with another corner of some sort, okay? We're going to chain 2, and we're going to work 2 more half double crochets. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So now we have a half double crochet corner. After that chain 2 corner, we're going to skip the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to front post double crochet in the next 6 stitches. Now make sure that once you've crocheted in this stitch, for example, you don't want to front post stitch in there. I actually just did that accidentally, so I'm just wanting to make sure that you're really clear. Once you use a stitch in one way or another, don't use it again. It's real easy to make a mistake and do that, so I just want to try to warn you against that. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 front post double crochets. Let's look at that. Okay, and then a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to work another corner, which is 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more half double crochets. So all you need to do now is do this 2 more times around your square, and then we'll be ready to make the join. At the end of round 3, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch our way to that chain 2 by slip stitching in the next stitch, and then slip stitch to the chain 2 corner. After working those 2 slip stitches to get to the chain 2 corner space, we're going to chain 2, and we are going to turn. We're going to skip the first stitch, and then we're going to work a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Now we're going to work 3 back post double crochets, and these should be over the front post double crochets that you worked in the last round. So we have 1, 2, 3 back post double crochets. Now the next stitch is a half double crochet, and it's going to be worked in between the last stitch and the next stitch. So right here there's a little space. People have written to me and say, oh, that's so confusing. It's like, well, actually it's not. It just is the same as what it says. It's in between the last stitch and the next stitch, which is the space right here. Just work a half double crochet. It's not worked in a stitch, but that's okay. Just follow the directions and I think everything will be fine. So now we're going to work 3 more back post double crochets around those next 3 stitches. And you'll see why we're doing what we just did. This is actually going to be the center of the cable once we get going here, and it's going to be very clear as to why we're doing this way. Okay, now we're going to work a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to work a corner here, which is 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more half double crochets. And that's going to be your repeat all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and work another one of these with you. We're going to skip this half double crochet. We're going to half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we, as I get some more yarn, we're going to work 3 back post double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then a half double crochet in between the last stitch and the next stitch. It's right here, just in between that space. And then 3 more back post double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then half double in the next 2 stitches. And we're going to skip the next stitch, and then we're going to work 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 2 more half double crochets for the corner. Let's stop and show you what this looks like, and you're going to go ahead and work this all the way around the rest of the square. For the last corner, we're going to work 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and 1 half double crochet, because this chain 2 that we worked at the beginning counts as a half double crochet. So go ahead and join to that chain 2 space. Let me like to use 2 strands if possible. There we go. So join to the top of that space. Now we are going to begin round 5. We're going to, first of all, we're going to turn, then we're going to chain 1. Now before we begin round number 5, in the magazine there was a typographical error. The first corner shows as being made of half double crochets. All the corners of this round are going to be made using double crochet, so I just wanted to state that at first. Okay, so now to begin round 5, we've chained 1. It says to skip the next stitch and then slip stitch in that corner space. That kind of makes it have less, fabric here as we go along. So I'm going to have you chain 3, even though the pattern says to chain 2. Like I said, that is a typo. Go ahead and chain 3. And we're going to work a double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets for each of these corners. And the reason we're going to alternate half double crochets and then we're going to alternate those rounds with double crochet rounds is because it tends to help the afghan to come out more like a square rather than a big round blob, or it also keeps the corners from being too pointy. If you use one stitch or the other exclusively, it tends to misshape the square in a way that does not look really appealing. Okay, so now as we go forward, this again is round number 9. We are going to skip the next stitch, which is the first half double crochet, and we're going to half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. Okay, after working those 3 half double crochets, we're going to work what I like to call the crossing of the cable. And if you look in your pattern, this would be under stitch patterns, and we're going to work round number 3 of the large cable. Okay, we're still on round 5 of the entire throw, but just if you're looking at the stitch patterns, you can take a look at round 3 in case you don't understand what I'm about to do here. So in order to cross these cables, we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip those, and we're going to work a half double crochet in that central half double crochet, just like that. Now we're going to work 3 front post double crochets, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. So make sure you wrap your hook 2 times for this front post treble crochet. Okay, so I've worked 3 of those, and now after we do that, we are going to work front post trebles in each of the 3 stitches that we skipped. So just reach way across there. I know it feels like a big gap, but we're just going to work them just like this. After we do that, we are going to work a half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. We're going to skip the last stitch, and then we're going to work our double crochet corners. Chain 2 and 2 more double crochets in that corner. Let's stop and take a look at what we've just done. We have our double crochet corners, 3 half double crochets, our crossing of the cable, 3 half doubles, and then our double crochet corners. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to do that for you one more time. I'm going to skip the first stitch, half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, now we're going to skip the next 3, 1, 2, 3, half double crochet in the next stitch, front post treble in the next 3 stitches, now working in front of the last 4 stitches, that would be the 3 front post treble and that half double crochet, we're going to front post treble in these 3 stitches that we skipped, and these are going to be the 3 stitches that are sticking out a bit because they're front post stitches, and this is going to be the nice raised texture of your throw. Then after that, we do 3 half double crochets. Whoops, let's try that one again. The loops got away from me. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the last stitch and 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Now I'm going to pause and show you what we have at this stage. You can see 1 crossing here and another cable crossing there. So go ahead and work this all the way around. At the end of this round, we join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3, and then chain 1, and go ahead and slip stitch into that chain 2 space, bringing us to that chain 2 corner. So now we're going to turn, and we're going to work round number 6. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip the next stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. Okay, so half double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to work over that cable that was crossed in the last round. We're going to work 3 back post double crochets over first half of that crossed cable. Okay, so it's 3 back post doubles. Now again, in between the last stitch and the next stitch, this is where they were crossed. You should be able to put your finger in there. Work a half double crochet in between those two, just like that. And then back post double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, oops, let's try that again. 2, 3. Now what we've just did here is we're just maintaining that half double crochet, and you're going to do that throughout the project. Make sure that there's a half double crochet in the middle of this large cable. That just really helps. Let me show you the other side. This is just going to help to give this cable a definition, and you'll see that more as this cable grows. Now we're going to half double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you are going to want to count these as you go in each of the rounds, because it's really easy, as you can see, to accidentally slip stitches in here or in other places. So make sure that you do count as you go. That way the blanket won't grow bigger on one side than on the other. Now we have the back side facing. Whenever you have the back side facing, you're going to work half double crochet corners. So work 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more half double crochets. Okay. Now when the front side of the pattern is facing like this, where you see the cables, that's when you're going to use your double crochet, chain 2 double crochets for the corners. Okay, so double crochet corners with the front side facing is going to be half double crochet corners with the back side facing, and by alternating them that way, like I said before, this is going to keep your project square and keep it from becoming misshaped. So I'll go ahead and repeat this pattern one more time for round number 6. We're going to skip the first stitch, half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. Okay, I've done 4 half double crochets. Now we're going to do 3 back post double crochets. Okay, after you do those 3 back post doubles, that brings you to the middle of this cable. Work a half double crochet in the center there. It's not directly in a stitch, but it's in between the last stitch and the next stitch. And then back post double in the next 3 stitches. And we're going to skip this half double crochet, and we're going to half double crochet in the next 4 stitches. And skip this stitch, and again half double crochets with the back side facing. Chain 2. So for the corners, 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 2 half double crochets. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. It doesn't look like much from the back side, but if you flip it around, this is what it should look like from the front side. So go ahead and repeat that 2 more times as you go around your square. And that last corner of round 6 is going to be 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 1 half double crochet, and then we join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 2. Okay, now we can turn, and let's take a look at what we have after 6 rounds. And this is going to settle out once we get more rounds going here. Okay, now we're ready to start round number 7. We are going to chain 1 and we're going to skip the next stitch and slip stitch into that chain 2 space, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, I am making a slight change from the original written pattern. The new pattern may be corrected, but the odd rounds with the front side facing are going to have double crochet corners, and that's what I am changing at that one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets for this corner. Okay, after working the double crochet corner, we're going to skip the first stitch and then half double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. Four and 5. After that, we're going to work 3 front post double crochets, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. And these are worked on the other post stitches that form our large cable. Now we're going to work a half double crochet in the half double crochet, and this is going to be right in the center every time you work this. And then the front post double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Oops, let's try that one again. Okay, now we're going to work half double crochets in each of the next 5 stitches. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to skip the last stitch, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets. Remember, with the front side facing, you're going to work double crochet corners. Chain 2 and 2 more double crochets to form that corner. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So we're going to work double crochet corners, 5 half double crochets, 3 front post doubles, half double crochet in that half double crochet, and again that's just work through the top loops, it's not a post stitch, and then 3 front post double crochets, 5 half doubles, and then you have the double crochet corners, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. So go ahead and work that all the way around your square. At the end of round 7, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. We're going to chain 1 and go ahead and slip stitch. Going to skip this stitch and then slip stitch into that chain 2 space, just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and turn our work to work round number 8. We're going to chain 2. We're going to skip the first stitch. Then we're going to half double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to work back post double crochets across the next 3 stitches. So just reach around the back like that. Work those back post double crochets. And then when we get to that half double crochet, we're going to half double crochet right there, working through the top loops. And then after we do that, we're going to work 3 more back post double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And that's, again, just to show you, that's working over this cable. We're making this cable larger as we go. After we do that, we are going to half double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in case you haven't noticed it already, we're going to always be skipping this stitch and this stitch of the corners. Now we have the back side facing, so that means we're going to work half double crochet corners. 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more half double crochets. Okay, and so that is going to be your repeat all the way around the square, skipping that first stitch again, which is the first stitch of the corner, half double crochet in the next 6 stitches, 3 back post double crochets, half double crochet, 3 back post rather double crochets, and then 6 half double crochets, and then when you get to the corner, 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 2 half double crochets. So go ahead and work that all the way around. This round ends by working 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 1 half double crochet, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 2 that we started the round with. After round 8, I've gone ahead and turned my square so I have the front side facing. Chain 1, we're going to skip the next stitch and slip stitch into that chain 2 space just like that. And now we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to work a double crochet. Remember now the pattern does say a half double. That needs to be corrected. If you still have the original pattern, that should be a double crochet corner. We're going to chain 2 and then 2 more double crochets in that corner. And just as another reminder, we're using double crochet corners whenever you can see the cabling, and we're using half double crochet corners when you have the back side facing. Okay, now we're going to half double crochet. We're going to skip this stitch, half double crochet in the next 7 stitches. After you've worked those 7 half double crochets, we come again to this large cable, and we're going to work 3 front post double crochets. This is actually, I believe, row 1 of the large cable pattern, for those of you who are following the pattern. Then we do a half double crochet in the center, and then another 3 front post double crochets. Okay, after that we do 7 more half double crochets, 1 in each of the next 7 stitches. After those 7 half double crochets, remember we're skipping the next stitch, and then we work double crochet, 2 double crochets for the corner, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. And that is going to be your repeat. Let's go ahead and take a look at that again. We started out with the corners, which again are double crochet corners. Then skip the next stitch, 7 half double crochets, 3 front post double crochets, half double crochet in that half double crochet in the center, 3 more front post doubles, and then 7 half double crochets. Skip the next stitch here in the corner, and then 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets for the corner. So go ahead and work that all the way across, and remember we're skipping the first stitch here as we begin, and we also skip the last stitch here. So make sure you're not working in those, or you'll be adding unnecessary stitches. So go ahead and finish that all the way around. At the end of this round, we join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3. We're going to go ahead and give it a chain 1. Go ahead and do a slip stitch in that chain 2 space, and go ahead and chain 2, and we are going to turn. We now have round number 10 with the back side facing, and we are going to skip the first stitch, and starting in the next we are going to half double crochet in each of the next 8 stitches. So go ahead and do that. For the cable portion, we are going to simply work 3 back post double crochets. These again is over the cable, the large cable, and then we work a half double crochet in that half double crochet, which should be right in the center of your cable, and then 3 more back post double crochets. After we do that, we're going to work 1 half double crochet in each of the next 8 stitches. We're going to skip the next stitch, and then with the backside facing, we're going to work our half double crochet corners, which is 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more half double crochets. Let's pause and take a look at that repeat one more time. This is for round number 10. We're going to work our 8 half double crochets in this section. For the cable, 3 back post double crochets, half double crochet, and then 3 back post double crochets, and then 8 more half double crochets. Skip this stitch, and then the half double crochet corner, which is 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and 2 half double crochets. So go ahead and work that all the way around. Round 10 ends by working the corner with 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 1 half double crochet, and then join to the top of that chain 2 right there of that round. Okay, now we're ready to move on to round 11, and this is the round where we're going to begin working the 4 post cables. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn our work. We should have the front side facing. It should look like this on each side. Okay, we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip this stitch. We're going to slip stitch into that chain 2 space. We are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Even though it says 2, trust me on this, chain 3, because we're making double crochet corners, and double crochet in that same space, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets in that chain 2 space to form a double crochet corner. Okay, now this is where we have to follow the instructions carefully. We're going to half double crochet in the next, well, first of all, we're going to skip this stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Okay, now this is where we form our 4 post cable, and we do this by skipping the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then we're going to front post treble crochet in the next 2 stitches. And this is the beginning again of those little skinny cables on either side of the large cable. After we work those 2 front post trebles, we're going to work front post, working in front of these 2 cables. We're going to work front post cables in the 2 stitches that we skipped right here. And by the way, we're going to be working these on the front side facing every time we have a round, which is going to be every other round with the front side facing. Okay, after we do that, we're going to go over and work 3 half double crochets, 1 half double crochet in each of these 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. I just want to pause for a second and let you look at that. So we have 2, we have skipped this first stitch, 2 half double crochets, and then we worked our 4 post cable, and then we worked 3 half double crochets. Now it's time to do another crossing of the large cable, and remember we do this by skipping the next 3 stitches, half double crochet in that half double crochet, and then we're going to work front post trebles in the next 3 stitches. Make sure you're wrapping that hook twice for these treble crochets, front post trebles. Okay, now after working those, we're going to work in front of these last 4 stitches. We're going to front post treble in each of these stitches as we cross the cable here. That's 1, 2, and 3. So we've just crossed that large cable. After we do that, now we're going to mirror what we did over here. Just to mention that we're going to half double crochet the next 3 stitches. Now it's time for us to make another front post, or actually 4 post cable. So we're going to skip the next 2 stitches. We're going to front post treble crochet in the next 2 stitches. Now working in front of these 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble crochet in these 2 half doubles. That's 1 and 2. Now all we have left is working 2, 1, 2 half double crochets, and that brings us to our corner. And because we have the front side facing, we're working double crochet corners. Now if you accidentally forget here or there, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. I wouldn't tear out the whole project to correct it, but you want to make sure that you try to remember to do the double crochets with the front side facing for the corners. Okay, then we chain 2 and then 2 more double crochets. I mean, I was going to say is if you just make the mistake once or twice here or there, it's really not going to affect your throw very much. But if you're making it consistently, it will definitely have an effect. Okay, so let's just review here. We have the double crochet corners, and we always skip, remember this stitch here, we always skip the stitch at the beginning and at the end on each side of the round. 2 half double crochets, then we work our 4 post cable, and then 3 half doubles, and then we had the crossing of the large cable, and then 3 half doubles, 4 post cable, 2 half doubles, and then the double crochet corner. I know that sounds like a lot, and we are using 3 different stitches as we go across here, so I know it's easy to get confused, but I promise you, once you've made a few rounds using a few rounds from this point on, you're going to see the pattern, and it's going to pretty much be very easy to follow, but just have to stick with me. Now concerning the cable here, just keep in mind that you have 6 stitches, okay? If you're following along with me in the Crochet World magazine, this would be large cable row 3, and so you have, actually that would be 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, and then 3 again crosses. So that just continues throughout, and each cable should look like this, and it's a very visual pattern. So even if you're not using the written pattern quite as much, actually once you get a few more rounds in this, you probably won't even need to refer to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just finish what I showed you all the way around. At the end of this round, we just join with a slip stitch to the top of that chain 3, and go ahead and give it a chain, and let me ask you to just go ahead and pause. This is a very important foundation round. I would like you to check to make sure that you do have 3 stitches on each side, these 3 half double crochets on each side of the large cable, and that you have the 4 post cable on either side of every cable of around. And also check to make sure that there are 2 stitches here and 2 stitches over here, and that you have double crochet corners. The reason being is this is the round that has established the pattern that we're going to follow from this point on, with all 3 of the cables on each side of the throw. Okay, well, let's go ahead. If you've done that, go ahead and turn. And oh, one other thing, let me show you before we go on to this. There are always going to be 3 stitches, 3 half double crochets on each side of the large cable from now on. This area over here between the corner and the 4-post cable, this is where the added stitches are going to come. Each round you're going to add 1 additional stitch from the round previous, okay, as you go around. And that's pretty much what we're going to do for the rest of the pattern. We're just going to be increasing 1 stitch here, and of course on the other side as well, 1 stitch over here in between the corner and the 4-post cable. So I just wanted to be clear about that before we go further. At the end of round 11, go ahead and chain 1 and slip stitch to that chain 2 corner. Now we're going to go ahead and turn and begin round 2 with a chain 2, 1, 2, and after we do that, we're going to skip the first stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet in each stitch until we reach that 4-post cable. So that would give you 3 stitches for round number 12 here, 3 stitches here, and like I said before, this is going to increase with each additional round. Okay, we have 3 here, the next round we'll have 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, etc., all the way through to round 46. Now that we've come to the 4-post cable, we're going to go ahead and work 4 back post double crochets just straight across in the order that they come. We're not crossing anything, we are just doing 4 back post double crochets straight across there, as you can see that. And if I turn, this is what it looks like from the front side here. Okay, after that we have our 3 half double crochets, which is always going to be 3 half double crochets in between the smaller and the larger cable. And now over our cable, this is working round 4 of the large cable. If you look at the stitch information in your book or in the magazine, we're going to work 3 back post double crochets, and then we're going to work a half double crochet in between the last stitch and the next stitch, which would be in the center of this cable, and then 3 more back post double crochets. Okay, so we've just worked over that large cable. Now we're going to do 3 more half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then we come to another 4-post cable, and we just do 4 back post double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then now we come to the half doubles, and we're only going to have 3 for this round. 1, 2, 3, and remember we're skipping this stitch, and we have the back side facing, so we're going to make these half double crochet corners. So 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 half double crochets. 1, 2. Okay, so that is your repeat. If you need to back this up, just back up to where it says round 12. Okay, so we're going to have the half double crochet corners. We're going to have the 3 half double crochets, the 4 back post double crochets, and this is over the 4-post cable, then 3 half doubles, and then working on the large cable, 3 back post double crochets, half double, 3 back post double crochets, 3 half double crochets, and then working over this 4 post cable, 4 back post double crochets. I hope I'm saying this all right. 3 half double crochets, and then the corner again, 2 half double, chain 2, 2 half double crochets. You'll be doing that in every corner. So go ahead and work that all the way around. Round 12 ends with working 2 half double crochets, a chain 2, and another half double crochet in that chain 2 space, and then go ahead and find that chain 2 and do a slip stitch in the top of that stitch. Okay, now we're going to go on to round number 12, but before we do that, we're going to go ahead and turn. I'm going to chain 1 and go ahead and slip stitch in that chain 2 corner. We're skipping this stitch and just slip stitch in that chain 2 corner. And now for round 13, actually that was part of 13, we're going to go ahead and chain 3. This is another one of those with the DC double crochet corners. We're going to double crochet, chain 2, and then work 2 double crochets in that chain 2 corner. Go ahead and get this situated. Now we are going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to half double crochet until we get to the 4 post stitch, and that should mean 4 it's in this situation. For round 13 we should have 4 half double crochets. Now if you're re-watching this section for the additional rows, you would just half double crochet. Once you skip this first stitch, just half double crochet in each stitch until you get to the 4 post cable. We're going to skip these 2 stitches, and we're going to front post treble crochet just like we did 2 rounds ago in each of those 2 stitches. And now working in front of those 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches that we just skipped. And again, this is what you're going to do every other round. Whenever the front side is facing with the cables, you're going to be crossing these cables on both sides of the large cable. Now we're going to half double crochet into 3 stitches. This will not change. There will always be 3 stitches in between the small cable and the larger cable. Now when we get to the large cable, we're actually working, see, this is row 3, row 4, this is row 5 of the large cable directions, which is to front post double crochet in these 3 stitches. Then we're going to half double crochet working through the top loops of that half double crochet in the center, and then 3 more front post double crochets. Go ahead and pull this little thing out of my yarn. There we go. Glad that's not a real knot. Now we go to the other side of the cable and we work our 3 half double crochets. This is a number that will not change, or should not change anyway. Then we get to the other 4 post cable, skip these 2 stitches, front post treble crochet in the next 2 stitches. Working in front of these 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches that we just skipped. Okay, and then after that we are going to half double crochet until we get to the corner. Half double crochet in each stitch, except we don't half double crochet, remember now, in this last stitch. So we should have 4 stitches there for round 13. Of course, if you're watching a repeat of this for additional rounds, you're going to have more. And then with the front side facing, we work the double crochet corners, which is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. Okay, let's stop and take a look at what we have. Okay, so starting over here, we have the double crochet corners. Remember, skipping the stitch. 4 half doubles. We've crossed our cables for the 4 post cables using treble, front post treble crochets. 3 half doubles, and then 3 front post doubles, half double, 3 front post double crochets, 3 half double crochets, and then we have the treble, front post treble crochets as we crossed the cable on that 4 post cable, and then 4 or however many you need to get to 1 stitch before the corner of this in half double crochets, and then the double crochet corner. So go ahead and work round 13 all the way around. Row 13 ends by working a slip stitch in the top of that chain 3, and let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. Okay, each side should have 3 cables. You have your 4 post cables on each side, and you should have the large cable in the middle. And I'm using double crochet corners for this since it has the front side facing. I think it'd be a prudent thing to go ahead and make sure that every side looks like this. Make sure that you did not do front post double crochets, but that you actually cross the cables on these small cables. You're going to be doing that on each round. Now for the rest of this throw, you're going to be repeating rows 12 and 13. Those are the 2 rows that I just did. If you need more stitch support, you can just go back to where I marked it as row 12 and row 13 and take a look at those. The only thing that's going to be different as you progress is that this will increase, as I've said before, this will increase by 1 stitch here and on the outside here. This will increase by 1 stitch every round that you do. In the middle here, these 3 stitches here and these 3 stitches here will remain the same. You're always going to cross these 2 cables when the front side is facing. When the back side is facing, you're just going to work 4 back post double crochets across that. And then for the middle cable, just make sure that you are creating cables that look the same. Each of these has its own 6 stitch pattern, which is written in the magazine instructions. Again, this is row 3 where the cable is crossed. Okay, so if we have 3, 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, and then 3 again as you cross that cable. So that's just going to be continuous. Actually, if you've gotten this far and we're still friends, you probably already understand this cable, but just wanted to be clear. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just continue this for the next number of rows until I reach 46. So I'll do this until I have a total of 46 rounds. And as far as the large cables, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to have 6 whole cables and then another half as you end this. Okay? So I will see you after I complete these 46 rounds.